V.I.P. I'm joined now by rock star and former punk princess Hazel O'Connor, whose powerful acting in the film Breaking Glass in 1980 won her worldwide acclaim. And during that time, she also had hits with Eighth Day, Will You and Decadent Days. She's been out of the limelight for the past few years, but she's now back with a new album, 5 in the Morning. Welcome, Hazel.
Thank you very much.
We'll come to that title in a moment, because it's not about you loving 5 in the morning, it's about you hating it.
Yes, it is. I wish I
Which I was very relieved to hear.
Yeah.
But contrary to what I've sort of said, really, you've been out of the media spotlight, but you've actually been quite active, haven't you, in those?
Yeah, I live in Ireland now, and I work fairly hard, either going on the road or doing acting work. And I like to spend a lot of time at home because I live in a beautiful spot, gardening, walking the dogs and cooking food and things like that.
And Ireland actually features quite heavily on this album, or the sound, the Celtic sound does, doesn't it?
Big time, absolutely. I use quite a lot of musicians that work with a band called Clannad. Well, I suppose people know Clannad, don't
absolutely.
they? Yeah. And about 3 of the people are all Clannad musicians, and the guy that produced the album was my guitarist over the last few years, and I wanted a meld of Celtic Irish sounds with quite a grunge rock soul vibe to it.
It's still very, and your voice is still very strong and powerful and that sort of nice grungy sound as well. But I wondered whether the Celtic influence went beyond the influences you absorbed from America, because you did spend quite a lot of time in the States as well.
Yeah, when I lived in America, I'd just come to the end of my I'll tell you why. I'm going to start from the beginning. You see, because I didn't make much money out of the business early on.
When you hit the big time.
When I hit the big time. I sometimes felt fed up with that, and sometimes I was really pleased because it gave me the opportunity to do lots of different kinds of things. And musically, that was brilliant. For instance, I have a great love of Billie Holiday, Gershwin's songs, Ella Fitzgerald, and that old kind of jazz of the 30s and 40s. So when I was out of work and when I wasn't in favour anymore as the pop puppet or the punk princess or whatever,
which is a great title,
all of those things, anything beginning with P, I would go and sing in a supper club in Knightsbridge, do all my jazz things. And when I went to America, I by that time was thinking, oh, I can do what I like really, so I'm not famous enough for it to be a problem or not be a problem. So I went there much more into soul and R&B by the time I got to America. And I was... But
was it difficult? I mean, you say you weren't famous like that, but you had been famous and people obviously knew who you were. Was it difficult to carve out a musical career for yourself over there, or was it...
Well, I wanted the freedom. I really always been a freedom girl.
Did you?
No, because I lost my freedom. And before I was famous, I was very, very used to travelling the world, and it was easy peasy. That was my life. Then suddenly I wasn't anonymous anymore, and when you've been used to being anonymous and the freedom and anonymity, if anybody else can say that for me,
anonymity is a difficult one.
Keep their teeth in, it'll be fine. I was really, really thrilled to be somewhere else where nobody knew me, and if they did know me, it wouldn't be an embarrassment.
Was it in contrast to those sort of, in a way, what people look back as being quite angry, aggressive punk years, that you were at the sort of pinnacle of your of your first batch of fame, anyway?
Well, see, I always think that that was newspaper talk, this whole aggressive punk, including all of the people that, the real people of punk, because I came on a second generation. I was much more the new wave. But if you went to see the Sex Pistols, if you went to see the Clash, if you went to see any of my mentors, they had energy. It was about energy, not about aggression.
So when people called you the sort of, I think they called you the angry young woman, did you see yourself as that at all?
Not really.
Yeah.
I saw myself as a very energetic young woman.
Strong.
And, strong and strong statements. And I think that every generation must have its strong statement people, because that's what evolves society.
Who do you look at today as doing the same thing as you were doing perhaps in the 80s? Is there anyone?
Oh, God. Oh, God. I only know who I love, who I really love to listen to. I love Portishead. I'm a big Portishead fan. And I'm a huge Robbie. Oh, I love him.
Robbie Williams.
Of course.
Isn't he wonderful? He's got a great voice. Actually, it's not dissimilar to yours, is it?
Yeah, Robbie. Sing with me. Listen to
I'm
my
sure
voice.
he will.
Think about it.
But did you, I mean, because the expectancy of that sort of when you were on the road, and you love to go gigging, I know that's part of you, because you love to play music spontaneously. Were people responding to you in an aggressive way? Nobody sort of threw things at you while you're on the stage?
Oh, some people used to spit because they'd read it in the newspapers
That's what they had to do.
punks did, you spit.
Charming.
And I found that fairly disgusting.
Yeah.
I couldn't really handle it. I remember seeing Toya do it once, and she kind of could handle it more than me, and she'd pretend to be licking it off her microphone, and that made me want to puke. But I thought, fair play, Toya, you did good there.
And were there
But me, I'd tell him to... Somebody spat at me once, and he was a real happy fella, and I said, what'd you do that for? Stop the song. And he said, he just... OK, what's your name? Martin. OK, Martin. What's wrong? Have you got bad chest? What's the problem? And all the people in the theatre, it was about 3,000 people, and they were going, oh! So I said, I reckon Martin wants to come up and clean this off now. Is that right, Martin?
You never did that again, for sure.
Oh, no, he was really cool and happy too.
Hazel, were there any similarities then between you and the character that people knew as you in the film Breaking Glass?
Unfortunately, yes.
What were they?
The similarities were most of the story before her fame were my stories that I'd given to the director about the shoddy record company that I was actually
we
with.
should say, for those who didn't see it, that you were playing a young rock star in the sort of
who was...
origins of her career.
Yeah, the origins of her career, the paying to play vibe.
And it was, apparently the character was originally written for a man, and then you'd sort of been writing songs for the film, and they...
Well, I was trying. I was being a working class opportunist, actually.
But over the years, I was just thinking, has your music now taken over from your acting aspirations, or is Hollywood still knocking at the door?
Oh, well, the good thing is I can now go to Hollywood whenever I want, because I have lots of friends there, and I don't want to be anywhere where there's no friends. And when I lived there, it's I'm sort of in there in the society, so if the right thing happens, then I'll be doing it. But I won't feel like I did when I was first exported to Hollywood. I felt terrible.
And I know you've got California radio experience coming up. They want you out there. But 5 in the Morning is a very sort of what I feel, it's a very personal album. It's full of Celtic sort of rich sounds. What does it mean to you? What do you hope your fans will get out of it?
Oh, a good listen, I hope. Besides that, I'd say if they're my fans, then they'll really like it. I think they probably will like it nearly as much as Breaking Glass. Most people will never let me off the hook. Probably I'll never be... Oh, please, God, let something happen to me that I can make something where one really strong fan says, I love it, as much as Breaking Glass. But so far, it's always Breaking Glass stays. But this album has got some moments with wonderful people playing on it, like Herbie Flowers is the bass player. And for people who don't know who Herbie Flowers is, he's the guy that played with Ziggy Stardust and Spiders from Mars, David Bowie's entire career.
But equally, Hazel, I have to say...
Lou Reed.
Lou Reed, all of that, but the real key to this, I think, is the lyrics and the writing, which is fantastic. I have to congratulate you on that. I'm sure your fans are going to love it, and your new fans as well. And please come back, and maybe one day you can come back and sing for us.
OK. Thank you.
Sadly, we're out of time today. Bad luck.
That was shut-up time.
My thanks to Hazel O'Connor. That's all for today, but see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. That's great. Hello, I'm Katrina.